What's going on, everybody? If you don't already know, check out my Instagram at DreamRare. Check out my Twitter at Legendary Energy. Find me on Facebook and YouTube. An0maly, same way it's spelled here, A-N-0-M-A-L-Y. Subscribe to my YouTube channel or channels, and stay tuned for more news, analysis, and whatnot. I want to talk about Politicon. I went this weekend. I went to Saturday and Sunday. I saw Ben Shapiro and Cenk Uygur debate. I saw Tomi Lahren. I talked to a lot of people, met a lot of cool people in real life. So if you guys are in, I want to let you know, I'm gonna break down what I thought about Politicon, and then also, if you stay tuned, I'm gonna answer some questions. We could do a little question and answer in like 5 or 10 minutes. So if you stay tuned and you had any questions, just feel free to do that. First of all, Politicon was great. I went Saturday and Sunday. I tried to do a live stream Saturday, but it kept processing. I believe it was because Politicon didn't want live streams, so they might have seen it in my title. They didn't let my live stream go through, so I'm going to redo it on the first and second night. So first of all, I think it was incredible. You had a lot of different sides. You had, liberals, conservatives, libertarians, progressives, Bernie Sanders people, all sorts of people, and everybody was coexisting and having conversations. That's what it's about. It's easier on Facebook to yell, call somebody this and that, scream and cry, but when you're in person and you're face to face, it's not so easy to be, mean or rude or judgmental from other sides. And I really do think that Politicon 2017, for my observations and also my interviews that I gave with a few people, is that all sides kind of felt that way. I talked to a Bernie Sanders supporter who was like, oh, the Trump supporters were nice, and it kind of shatters the paradigm of, oh, everybody's racist and sexist, and people don't agree with me or wrong and mean and terrible. It's really just a lot of confused and lost people, and people that know their stuff, all on all sides, just trying to figure it out. It's a confusing time. It's a confusing era of politics and whatnot, so we're all just trying to figure it out. It's cool to see that. Thank you to everybody who said hi. Like 50 or so people came up and said hi. It was very incredible to see people in person. I know I make a lot of videos, but I enjoy real life and real human interaction the most. So I loved actually talking to people and connecting with people. That's what I enjoy. That's what I intend to do. Hopefully I could get up to Berkeley this year and talk in front of that college and other places. I'd love to meet you guys in person. So I would say overall Politicon was a huge success. I do want to note the second day seemed like a lot of more conservatives and Trump supporters were there more than any other political affiliation. I was expecting it to be, massively skewed to the left, especially being in Los Angeles. But Ben Shapiro brought out a ridiculous crowd. He had way more supporters than Cenk Uygur had, and I mean, Ben Shapiro really impressed me at Politicon because his support group, even in Los Angeles, was bigger than the progressive and liberal side, which was incredible to see in one of the most Democrat-controlled areas. So, wow, a lot of people are getting red-pilled. There's a lot of logic and facts breaking the paradigm, and Ben Shapiro is one of the people really doing that because he's not just a shill, he's just an intellectual guy. So, I'm going to talk real quick about the Tomi Lahren and Chelsea Handler debate. I mentioned it. My live stream didn't go through. I'm going to bring it back. It's really disappointing me, and even when I put a picture on Instagram, one of my friends said, well, what about healthcare? What about Tomi Lahren said about healthcare? It's pathetic that the news headlines are all Tomi Lahren said she's on her parents' health insurance, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to demonize Tomi Lahren. I was at the debate. She said she was on her parents' insurance because she is, as was I, until I got past the threshold of the age, and it didn't encompass the whole debate. I mean, Tomi Lahren was brilliant. Even Chelsea Handler was impressive. It was a great conversation back and forth. Tomi Lahren really held it down, and she knows a lot about healthcare. I mean, she's very, very smart, and it's really pathetic to me to see that the media made the big headline that she said she's on her parents' insurance, so now all the sheep are like, oh, she's on her parents' insurance, blah, blah. What do you have to say about that, An0maly? I was there, so you can't lie to me. You can't hit me with a headline. I watched the entire thing myself in context, and Tomi Lahren won the debate about healthcare. Me personally, Cenk and Ben and Chelsea and Tomi, none of them talk about the root causes of healthcare, which is people taking care of their own health. Like, it's not politicians with legislation that control our health, believe it or not. I know that's a hard concept for everybody to figure out, but we're in control of our health a large portion of the time. So yes, we should help people with pre-existing conditions, genetic conditions, 100%. I'm with you. We should help them. But what we don't understand is a lot of these diseases and a lot of these inflammations and stuff we have are totally self-induced. So the more we run around asking politicians to help us with our health, the more unhealthy we're going to be. We got to take care of ourselves. So it's a shame that those are the headlines, because Chelsea Handler and Tomi Lahren had a really productive conversation, and I thought Tomi had the upper hand most of the time. Chelsea had a few good points. When we stop demonizing each other and calling everyone racist and sexist and terrible, you realize that there's a lot of logic from that side. And I thought one of the biggest things during the Chelsea Handler debate was her supporting the LGBT transgender community in the military for 15 minutes, as she should and has the right to do. But then she went and said Marco Rubio isn't a man. He's not even a real man. So she was exposing the hypocrisy from her side of, oh, I'm allowed to be mean, I'm allowed to be judgmental, I'm allowed to call guys not guys if they look feminine or they look a little childish, but I'm going to defend people that are transgendered, and you can't make fun of me. I thought that was pretty hypocritical, and I think she exposed herself there. I would have loved to see more headlines talk about that, or not even. I would have loved to see headlines talk about the real blunt of the conversation. But if you notice with a lot of these headlines, it's all like, oh, look, she's on her parents' health insurance. It's like, do you even care about intellectual discussion? Do you care about learning? Do you care about, properly representing both sides? Or are you just trying to make a little dumb story that gets all the sheep freaking out? So I thought Chelsea Handler, Tomi Lahren, great conversation. I thought Tomi Lahren got the upper hand. It's a shame that all the media wants to demonize her. And I thought Chelsea Handler impressed me too. She was definitely a little rude at some points, but she's a comedian, she's funny, and she had a lot of good points about the future of energy and the evolution of jobs and what's going to happen. A lot of industries are going to die out whether we try to save them or not. So props to Chelsea Handler, props to Tomi Lahren. They're both beautiful, intellectual women that are smart. And I think that the media should celebrate both of them as, intelligent, successful women, instead of trying to demonize and pull, Tomi Lahren down. That's sad to me. On to the Ben Shapiro and Cenk debate. As I said, crazy. It was more Ben Shapiro supporters than Cenk Uygur supporters. I mean, the crowd erupted in cheer when Ben came out. I have video footage. Check my Twitter, Legendary Energy. The crowd erupted in cheer for Ben Shapiro. I mean, he had most of the auditorium, and when Cenk came out, he got booed. In Los Angeles, California, you have a conservative, Jewish, intellectual, free thinker, whatever he considers himself. I don't even like titles, but I mean, he's, a conservative in most values. He got an eruptive cheer in Los Angeles, and Cenk Uygur, a progressive, liberal of sorts, got booed. Crazy, insane. The tide is here, and as I say to all people, I live in Los Angeles, I talk to people. Los Angeles is a city of real immigrants, not these fake immigrants that they talk about on the news and these little echo chamber bubbles that they create, and then they lie so much they convince themselves that they're telling the truth. They're like, oh, everyone agrees with me, everyone's racist and sexist. No, it's actually not true at all. There's millions of people who don't agree with you, and they're here in Los Angeles. I see them all the time. I walk down the street, they talk to me. I have conversations with drivers that are from Jordan, that are from Libya, that are from all of these countries, and they know what food's like. They know our industries are a scam here. And they don't tend to be Democrat or liberal. So Los Angeles is a city of real immigrants, and real immigrants don't tend to like socialist policies, because a lot of them come from countries where it's completely destroyed, their well-being. So on that note, Cenk versus Ben. It was a great debate. They're both very intellectual people. I mean, Cenk impressed a lot of Ben Shapiro supporters, and Ben Shapiro impressed a lot of Cenk supporters. I interviewed people after it. Both came out saying, wow, they both really had some points. They're not dummies and they're not bad people per se, but I thought Ben really got the best end of it. I thought Cenk had a few better points than Ben, but overall, I thought Ben really held it down, and I'm going to go to two examples where that was pretty obvious to me. One is healthcare, and like I said again, not to knock Cenk and Ben because they're both very smart people, but they keep talking about healthcare, and I don't know their health, diets, but they both don't look like very health conscious people. I mean, Cenk, I don't think he's really like a health expert, and that I'm not trying to be mean, it's just a fact. And as for Ben Shapiro, I mean, he never really talks about it. So they're talking about health insurance and, oh, we need this, we need that, we need this. It's like, hey, why don't you get outside the government bubble? Both of them who are intellectual, what I would say to them is, I mean, what about food? What about water? It's not like 20 million people are supposed to be sick all the time and then they need all this government insurance. Oh, I need this, I need that, I need these pills, I need that pills. People are like that because they're not taking care of themselves. They're not taking care of themselves physically. They're not taking care of themselves mentally. The workforce has to go into play with it. Our education has to go into play with it. Our food industry, our medicine industry. Cenk and Ben talked about none of that. So I'm watching the healthcare debate and I'm like, hello, neither of you look very healthy. No offense, you're both very smart. But it's like, I don't want you to determine healthcare for me if you can't even take care of yourself. Once again, I'm not trying to be mean. I don't care about physically, mentally, all those stuff. But why would somebody that doesn't take care of themselves, how are they going to be the all-being seers of health? And I don't think I am either, but I find a lot of politicians and a lot of analysts very hypocritical when they just all talk about legislation. How about take care of yourself? You know, I got 7 throat infections last year. Literally, I had strep throat 7 times, and I kept making videos anyway because I have a lot of ambition, but whatever. I kept getting strep throat, and I almost got my tonsils taken out 7 times in a year. It destroyed my whole year. I changed my eating habits. I stopped eating a lot of dairy. I started drinking tea and started taking supplements, and I started drinking apple cider vinegar. I started working out and becoming more conscious of my body. It's my body. It's made of water. It's muscles. It's blood. It's a flowing system that the more conscious you are about it, the more it changes. It's like the ocean or the world. It all plays a part. So, I mean, we have to take a little self-accountability with health. What are we eating? What medicines are we taking? What are we meditating? Are we doing yoga? Are we stretching? Because our bodies are not meant to be typing all the time. They're not meant to be on the computer. We're not meant to be sitting at a cubicle 9 to 5. We're not meant to have no breaks and have small lunches. So, you know, to employers worldwide, I say take care of your people. Show love to your employees 100%. And also, people, really think about stuff. Don't look to Bernie Sanders or even Ben Shapiro and Cenk to tell you how to take care of yourself. I guarantee you, I promise you, it's a fact that the more you do, the less sick you're going to get. I've seen it happen to myself. I met an amazing young woman who lost 100 pounds when she got off pills because she started taking care of herself. So I would like to see that. Back to the debate real quick. I'm just very passionate about that, and I don't see anybody talking about it at Politicon. But the debate, I thought Ben really got Cenk on another thing. Is Cenk's whole thing is take money out of politics. And that's great. I think money can be taken out of politics. But Ben made a really good point. He said, well, you are influencing politics. You got a $4 million loan to start your company, and now you have massive influence in the political sphere. How are you going to take money out of politics, yet you have a company that literally is a maybe multi-million-dollar company that supplies politics? And Cenk kept saying, oh, there's a big difference. There's a big difference between money and politics, and there's a difference between me, I'm just a media company. And Ben kept saying, well, what do you think a presidential candidate like Bernie Sanders would rather have? $1 million or you sucking up to him the whole election? And the crowd went wild. And it's 100% true. I mean, you can't put a value on media and people's minds. Politicians pay money to get votes. So they're spending billions of dollars to influence people's minds. That's just how the election will work. So Cenk has that power. Cenk already has more power than $1 billion spent by George Soros. He can't pay for what Cenk has. He can't pay for what I have. He can't pay for what Ben Shapiro has. So I think Ben Shapiro was 110% right. What Cenk has is money in politics. It's a company that makes money to talk about politics, and it's totally the same thing. It's actually even more valuable than money. Because money, you could spend it, but you can't get proven results. I have proven results. Ben has proven results. Cenk has proven results. And we all have a fan base or a audience base, a viewer base, a friend base, whatever you want to call it, that trusts us. So, I mean, I think Ben was totally right about that. And to me, that was the cornerstone of the debate, is Cenk's whole philosophy of taking money out of politics. Then, I mean, shut down the Young Turks. If you want to take money and influence out of politics, then you wouldn't have a platform. So, to me, that was the cornerstone of the debate. Let me know what you think, but I thought that was a game changer, and it was great to see 2 smart people from both sides really having a debate about that. Those are my thoughts about the 2 debates as far as Cenk and Ben and Chelsea versus Tomi Lahren. I thought Politicon was a success, everybody talking on both sides, and it was great to see that, I mean, the quote-unquote liberal, the modern day liberal, because I believe in real liberal values like social justice, equality, and freedom, but the modern day like negative hate-filled bubble of lies that they play on mainstream media, there wasn't a big audience there. I truly believe, and I'm going to say this real quick and then I'll take a few questions. I truly believe that they're lying about virtually everything. I think they lied about the votes in California. I think they cheated Bernie Sanders. I think they completely rigged the votes. They put out this message and they think that people will believe it. Like, they're like, there's no conservatives in Los Angeles. There's no Trump supporters in Los Angeles. There's no Ben Shapiro supporters in Los Angeles. It's all Hillary supporters. But that's not the truth. It's just totally not. So they keep perpetuating these lies, but the amount of people that support President Trump, the amount of conservatives, the amount of people who like logic and truth and just like a fair shake, even if you don't consider yourself conservative like me, I don't consider myself conservative. I'm not a Republican. I'm not any of that. I just like truth, justice, freedom, equality, environment. These are the things I care about, and I'm not seeing them on the modern day left. And I don't think a lot of people are. Based on Politicon, it was a very big event that seemed like it had more left-leaning panels than it did right-leaning. And I mean, the conservatives really outweighed the liberals as far as there. And I don't care what people are, but I think they're lying about how people feel. Because they put it on the news, everyone believes that, oh yeah, everybody's racist and sexist, and it's only me, you know, there's no such thing as a Trump supporter. But in reality, there's tens of hundreds of millions of people that are defying that. I met people from all types of backgrounds, all religions, all ethnicities, and I mean, nothing of what they said is true. So I want to say to people in that bubble or people outside, if you're losing hope, don't lose hope. The movement of truth and love is growing, and I really believe the good liberals and good conservatives, they're blending and they're meshing, and there's a new movement out that just puts people and truth and love and real facts over the mainstream media lies. So I saw with my own eyes, thousands of people, I mean, they lie totally about every big city. They lie about how people feel. So, you know, the truth is winning, justice is coming. I saw it with my own eyes, and it was really refreshing to see that, oh yeah, they are lying about everything. You know, the media portrays Los Angeles as this big haven that it's just not. So I'll take a few questions before I leave. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through that little analysis. I'll take probably like 5 questions and then I'm going to take off. So let me know if you want to ask me anything. Thank you guys for joining, and thanks for supporting. I'll have more content this week. So I'm going to take a sip real quick. I know it's a little delayed on the thing, but I'm going to take 5 questions. So anything you guys want to ask, I'll answer. Have you had a chance to watch the Hassan versus Charlie debate? No, I have not. Who was your favorite person you interviewed? I only got to interview 5 or 6 people because the cameraman was a little late for me, but I would say my favorite person I interviewed just off the top was this Brazilian girl. She just moved from Brazil 2 weeks ago. She was just visiting the U.S., and I asked her about politics, and even though she doesn't know a lot about politics, the Brazilian girl said, I was like, what do you think about politics in America? She's like, I don't know that much, I'm just visiting, but there's too much hate. She was like, I wish there was more love. You know, there's just too much like nastiness and hate. And I was just like, yes, that's awesome. So she didn't even know a lot about politics, but just to see her analysis of it coming from Brazil, she was like, you guys are just way too hateful out here. So I thought that was awesome. I loved her answer. Just repeat a question. Everyone truly got along, no protest. No, yeah, it was great. I mean, there was a little back and forth. There was a little, like, you know, yelling during the Cenk and Ben debate, but for the most part, 100%, everyone got along. It was great. You had Bernie supporters talking to Trump supporters and having conversations. It was amazing. I was really, it blew my expectations. Frank, who's your favorite rapper? That's a good question. Man, that's so tough because I love hip-hop. I love everything about it. I like Outkast, Andre 3000. I like Nas. I like Jay-Z. I like Big L. I like Big Pun. I like Mos Def. I would say my favorite overall rapper, I think Jay-Z is one of the greatest rappers of all time because Jay-Z was dropping truth and wisdom and knowledge in the 90s, but also Jay-Z still makes hit records today. So I say Jay's the best rapper because I think he's just stood the test of time and he's consistently made great songs and great records and great albums, and I don't know anyone else that has lasted that long. So that's a little list I thought of right now. But I like underground. I like everything. I love hip hop. Predicts the future of American politics. I think truth is winning. I think justice is winning. I think we're getting better and better. Someone called in. I had to just cancel real quick, but I think good things are going to happen. I think we've made progress in American politics and also in the world. There's a lot of communication, a lot of cameras. You can't hide as much anymore. You have to really communicate. So I see bright things for the future. I'm very optimistic about American politics. I think it's just going to get better from here on out. Are you going to the mother of all rallies in Washington, D.C.? I got invited to go to that rally, and I got invited to speak actually at the mother of all rallies. So if I go, I'm able to perform. I might be able to perform a few songs and speak. I just don't know if I could get out there. So the event is all nonprofit for the mother of all rallies, so they can't pay for my travel, which is fine. I'm not a diva in that sense, but I don't know that I could make a cross-country trip for a few days just for a rally. I would love to, but you know, if they paid for my flight, it would probably be more realistic. And they're not doing that, and I'm not asking them to, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to fly cross-country. Why is the mainstream media avoiding Democrat Russian links? It's because the mainstream media is a PR team for the Democratic Party and a PR team for all of those politicians. So they have no interest in exposing themselves. Scaramucci is out. Is that confirmed? He's already out? I mean, that was a pretty quick stint, if that's true. So a week, I think he was there. What type of music do you perform? I perform hip-hop music and also poetry, spoken word poetry, both. So I'm available for a hip-hop show, a spoken word, a poetry show, and also, you know, I'm trying to speak at universities and whatnot. Hopefully, I connected with somebody at Berkeley. Hopefully, I might be able to speak at Berkeley soon. That would be pretty epic. Hope you could come out to the East Coast. Have you ever thought about it? I'm from the East Coast. I'm from New Jersey, so I'm on the East Coast like a couple times a year. I'm willing to go anywhere. I just have to really get the business straight as far as if I perform at an event, I need travel and whatnot. I can't just make cross-country trips out of my own pocket for rallies and stuff like that. I would love to. You know, I think it would be epic, and maybe I can make the mother of all rallies. I could try to, but in the future, I would love to come to the East Coast, but I'm going to try to get like a touring schedule down where I could go to places and speak at universities and stuff like that, so my travel's covered, but then I could also spend my own time. Montclair represent, nice. I know Montclair, we used to play them in sports. Hello, Maggie, how are you? So I guess Scaramucci's out. That's what everybody's saying. That's pretty wild. I mean, he was definitely a character, but in and out. Did I get to talk to Ben Shapiro? No, I didn't get to talk to a chance to talk to Ben, but I got to talk to a few cool people. Joe Biggs from InfoWars, Cernovich for a little bit. You ever gonna start interviewing guests? Absolutely. Hopefully soon. I just got to get a program to really stream. There's ones where I can interview from my house, so I plan on doing that soon. What are your fears? That's a good question. I try not to have any. I mean, I don't like heights. I don't like driving really. I don't like being in the car that much. Like being on the highway is kind of creepy to me. I don't like standing on ledges, but I try not to be afraid. Like I just don't do it if I don't want to do it, but I try not to really like be afraid of too much because I think fear is just bad. If something happens, it happens, but I try to just make calculated moves. Like I'm not dumb, but I'm not afraid, if that makes sense. How was Mike? I didn't get to talk to Mike that long, so I can't really say. We didn't have a good conversation. It was like really quick, so I don't know how he is personally. Ever been down to Georgia? No, I did not believe so. I probably driven through there when I went to Florida, but I don't think I've ever stopped anywhere in Georgia, unfortunately. So hopefully soon. I don't need a GoFundMe for Mother of All Rallies. Like if I wanted to take the trip, I have the money to go to the Mother of All Rallies. It's definitely an option. To be honest, I don't want to be in the Washington D.C. area. You know, it's not. I'm sure it's fine. I have friends that live there. I think the rally will be great, but I mean, after how they acted, the DC police acted during the Seth Rich trial. I mean, I have very little interest to go to Washington DC, especially take my own money and spend it to fly across country to go somewhere where I don't really feel comfortable. I'm not saying anything would happen, but I saw how they treated the Seth Rich case, the DC police and the media, and I have very little interest in going anywhere near Washington, D.C. until all of that stuff gets figured out. Same with Florida. I mean, the way Debbie Wasserman Schultz runs her district of Florida, I have very little interest in going to Florida. No disrespect to anybody who's from there, but I mean, unless I'm being paid to go there, I highly doubt I'm going to go to Florida or D.C. anytime soon. That's just how I feel. Are you considering a career in politics in the future? No, definitely not. I don't like politics. I think my role in this too is because I think a lot of politicians, they're all about legislation and they're all like complaining. I think that's my role in this whole thing, is try to bring the spirituality, try to bring the love and the discussion and the unity to politics and the discussion. I don't think I would want to get into politics per se. Maybe when I'm like 70 or something, when I'm older and I just don't care anymore, but I don't think that's my role. I'd rather just bring the humanity to politics, because even my favorite analysts, they're all negative. It's like, if I don't get it my way, everything's going to explode. And you saw with Cenk and Ben that they both have facts to back up their ideas and arguments. I mean, they're both really smart people, but the truth is no system is perfect. Free market capitalism is not perfect. Socialism is clearly not perfect. So, I mean, I don't want to get into politics at this time for sure. But when I'm older, who knows? Any more questions? I'll take a few more. I'm chilling. I'm not really in a rush. What are your 3 topics that need to be discussed in the mainstream media? Number 1, that I'm just gonna nonstop just keep drilling, because I firmly believe it, is healthcare. They talk about healthcare. Think about it. Health, your body. They talk about it like it's pieces of legislation. And oh, how much debt am I gonna be in? Am I gonna be covered by insurance? F insurance. Fuck insurance. Sorry, excuse my language. Fuck insurance. I want to talk about real health. I want to talk about taking care of your health, mental health, physical health. So that's number 1 to me, is real health care, not the fake health care that they talk about. I mean, there's a place and a time for that health insurance and insuring people that are sick and making sure they're not in debt and they have coverage with doctors. That's fine, but that's not health. You don't own health. The media try to take everything. Oh, we own feminism now. We own health. No, they don't talk about real feminism. They don't talk about real health. So they hijack every conversation in a dumb manner. So that I don't know about the other 2, but real healthcare, that's number 1 right now. The other 2 and 3 is just, I would say, optimism. Number 2 is like dialogue, optimism. Just like not be so negative and hateful. Have a conversation, because you have a bunch of passive aggressive people like yelling at each other behind keyboards, but then in person they would never say any of that stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, maybe I am wrong. So it's like more dialogue. How much money check would it take for you to stop telling the truth? There's not an amount of money that I just can't do it. I've literally turned down music situations. I've had meetings at big labels. I've been flown across country for my music. I was actually pretty popular, I guess, when I was younger, rapping just on YouTube, and a lot of people are interested. I'm just not interested. I don't know. I can't. It's beyond money at this point. It always was. Like my soul, I feel like my spirit, that's what I was put here to do. I don't even think about these things. They just happen. So there's no amount of money that could buy me out. I'm very transparent about it. And even, I plan to make money, make a business and make a lot of money. I want to be successful and happy, and I want to be free, and I want to pay off my parents' debt, and I want to be able to buy my parents a house, and I want my parents to be able to retire. So I plan on making a lot of money, but I'm never going to sell out. There's no amount of money that can make me stop telling the truth. And even at this point, I don't even have a manager. I'm so good at business and doing my own deals. I can make a lot of money, and I'll always tell the truth. Even if someone agreed with me that, oh, here, I'll give you this money, you can't really stop my agenda of helping humanity and telling the truth. So there's no amount of money. I would never do it. I just couldn't. So, but I do plan on making money. I just have to do it in the right way, and I think it's totally possible. Are you getting a show? What's the progress with that? I don't want to release too many details because nothing's done till it's done. But I did have the a minor like a situation where it's a possibility that I could get a television show, a real show. But as for any business deal, there's a difference between saying it and doing it and finalizing it. So it's been said, it's been thrown out there. I'm a very straight shooter, so I don't listen to this, I listen to this, and I listen to actions. So the actions haven't been taken yet. The words are there, but you know, if not, I'll make my own network. I'm not really concerned about it. If you had a question, just repeat it, because I didn't Do you follow Milo? I don't follow him per se, but I appreciate his dialogue for sure. What is your go-to getaway? Mine is nature here in West Virginia. Definitely nature. I love hiking. I love the sun. I love the beach. I need to live near a beach soon, or like in the open. So that's definitely my getaway. I love like real life. I mean, and even out here, I feel like humanity's lost. A lot of people, they're checking Instagram. I mean, I'm on my phone all day. I'm not above it, but when I have fun, I like to just do it in real life and like communicate, play volleyball, stuff like that. Just like real life. Nothing's more fun than that. All right, I'll take probably like three more questions and then I'm out. I made a video about the trans in the military. Someone said, "What do you feel about the trans in the military?" I made a big video on it, so just check that out. I don't feel like repeating myself, but I'll take a few more questions. Thank you guys for sticking around. I appreciate it, and I met a lot of people in person this weekend. So for people that didn't get to see me, I thought it would be nice to take a few questions. I don't know. People are just arguing in the comment section. What do your parents think of your views? I'm so proud. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I think they're happy, but they're not really political, so I don't think they understand what I'm doing. I did hip hop music and politics, and they don't like hip hop music or politics. So I don't think they don't really know what's going on. I try to explain to them, but I don't think they get it. Have you had any scares from your reporting? No, I've had a few people threaten me, like a few minor weird things, but I don't know, I just don't get scared. I feel like I believe in self-manifestation a lot, and this is important. This is why I tell people don't like be paranoid and stuff and negative on my live stream, because I'm kind of, in that sense, I really think you're manifesting it in my life. So if you come with all this like negative thoughts, you're going to bring that into my life. So I don't need that type of paranoia and fear. I haven't had any scares. I walk around. My life is good. I communicate with people. I'm not scared or paranoid. I've had nothing really serious, and I don't expect to. And I just believe that if you are always fearing and you're always thinking something bad's going to happen, it's going to happen. And it's not because it would have happened anyway. You made it happen. The reason my life has opened up this way, I've been able to travel and do all these things and like really big doors open, is because I don't expect the worst. I always have expected the best, and I've always gotten the best because I make it happen. I expect it and then I make it happen. So I don't fear anything. I'm not paranoid. I'm not scared, and I don't intend to be. So I know you guys are worried about me sometimes because of certain things I say, but just really don't worry about it. At the end of the day, we're all people, and my approach is pretty chill. So I don't think anybody really feels that way about me. And if they do, they could tell me to my face, which they probably wouldn't. So it's all good. All right, I'll take two more and then I'm gonna roll out. What do you think about Paul Joseph Watkins and Milo? First of all, it's Paul Joseph Watson, but not to be mean. That's just I got what you're saying. And someone asked Alex Jones. I'll answer that real quick. I think Paul Joseph Watson's great. I don't always agree with like his approach. Maybe, you know, it's like sometimes he's too mean or whatever, or like I don't agree with what he's saying. But I mean, 99% of the time, I think Paul Joseph Watson's totally on the ball. I think he's funny. I think he's got a great sense of humor. I like his like anger. I think Paul Joseph Watson's great, and he says a lot of the same things I say, just in a different manner. So shout out to Paul Joseph Watson. I'd love to chill. Milo, I think Milo's amazing. I think it's crazy how they talk about Milo being like a neo-Nazi white supremacist leader when he's a gay Jewish guy who brags about loving, black boyfriends. It's ridiculous to me that they can somehow paint him as a neo-Nazi when neo-Nazis don't even like him. I think Milo's great. I mean, people are so soft nowadays. They don't care about actions. They don't care about who you are. They care about words. Oh, you offended me. You made me think. Like, sometimes the truth makes you think. Sometimes the truth offends you. It's not, we can't shut down everybody's thoughts just because you feel scared about it. So I think Milo's incredible. And I think Alex Jones is amazing too. I mean, do I always agree with him or his approach? No, but Alex Jones is, way ahead of his time as far as a lot of reporting that he's done that no one else is doing. And he sells healthy products. He sells water purifiers. He sells supplements. He sells oils. I don't know anyone else, any news networks, the ones that make fun of Alex Jones, they sell war and they sell lawyers and they sell pills. So it's like the real hypocrites, the real terrible people are the ones who constantly point the finger at Paul Joseph Watson, Milo, and Alex. I think they're way better people than all the people that constantly argue with them. So I'm a fan of all three. I like them all. Richard, you should make your own network. For sure, I'm working on it. I'm like a one-man operation besides everybody that's helping. I can't, it's like a lot of user-generated, so all of my success is basically because of you guys. In that way, it's not a one-man operation, but as far as the video editing and recording, I'm trying to expand and find people I trust that I could work with because there's a lot of things we could do. I'd love to do a news network. I would love to do my own website, but I have to find ambitious people who like get it because a lot of times I work with people, not to be mean, but it's like they're like dragging me down. Not only are they not helping me, but it's like they're trying to they're slowing me down. So it's like at this point, I might as well just do it myself. So maybe I just need to do everything myself. I'm not a selfish person. I love to work with people, but anybody I try to work with on the management scale, or they're like, oh, I'll help you do this, they end up not helping and they end up wasting my time and being like, oh, questioning what I'm doing. I'm like, listen, are you gonna help me or are you gonna ruin everything I'm doing? So that's the experiences I've had. I would love to get a news network. It's just hard to work with people. And now I'm so overwhelmed with messages. Like a lot of people are offering to do things. I got to figure out how to do it. So just for people watching, if you ever message me, first of all, I read all the messages. So say whatever you want. Feel free. But if you want to work with me, like business-wise or do something, just really try to get to the point, explain who you are, what you're doing, make it really easy for me because I get so many messages and some people write really long things and that's fine. But if you want to work with me, you need to get to the point, not to be mean, but what are you doing? How can we do it? How is this going to make, because if it's just ideas, a lot of people come to me with ideas and that's great. You should have ideas. But when I read 50 ideas, every day it's like, oh, this is my idea, this is my idea. I can't do anything about an idea. You got to really help me. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what we're doing. I'm going to meet somebody today for coffee, because they made it real easy for me. So let's just think about that. If you want to work with me, let me know what you do, how we're going to do it. Because if it's a loose, this is my thought, we're probably not going to be able to put it together. That's just real. Have you read Gorilla Mindset? No, I have not, but that's Mike Cernovich's book. I would like to check it out, though, for sure. I'm not a big reader, I'm not going to lie. I used to love reading books when I was younger, but now I love YouTube videos and stuff. So it's hard for me to sit and read a book. That's sad, but it's just true. I'm kind of all over the place. But I'll check it out. Thank you, Sylvia, and thank you, Bill. I appreciate you guys. Martin, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Much love to Europe. All right, I'll answer one more question. I see it right here. Someone said, how do you feel about the daily prayer in the White House? And that's a good question to end on. I think it's completely fine. I pray myself. I think a prayer is powerful, and people that are anti-religious or atheists will be like, oh, it's bad, but what you don't understand is energy and thoughts, these things manifest. So if you pray, if you're grateful anyway, whether you pray, and I personally, I appreciate prayers from all religions. I don't look down. If you're a Muslim and you pray in a good way, I think it affects the world. If you're a Christian and you pray, it's a good thing. I don't think they should try to take Christianity and prayer away from Trump, because prayers are powerful. And when you're going against a lot of evil entities, you need to pray. You need that type of energy. I mean, it's powerful. So I love a daily prayer. I'm glad that Donald Trump's doing it. I don't think they should take it out of the White House. And I also think that anybody, religious or non-religious, should be grateful, should pray, and, you know, put it back out there to the world. Thank you. Instead of always being like, I'm the victim, I'm negative, I hate this, I hate that, my life's terrible. You should be grateful and watch your world change. I mean, it's a total real thing. If you're negative all the time, you're never going to accomplish anything, and you're going to self-manifest just terrible behaviors. If you're grateful and you pray, that's energy you're putting out there. You are protected. So I totally believe it. But I do wish, and especially this weekend, I wish that people would understand that a lot of religions, I'll be the fringe, you know, radical people, that a lot of religions have a lot of crossovers, and there's a lot of good people. I met a really amazing doctor this weekend who is a Trump supporter, who's a Muslim from Pakistan, who's a doctor in California, and he's sick of the BS. He's an American. He loves America. He appreciates America. He came to see Ben Shapiro. He's a human being and a really good one. And he just prays, you know, he likes the Muslim religion. And I have a lot of people on here. I have a lot of Christians and a lot of conservatives, and I appreciate everyone. But I really wish, instead of yelling your head off at everybody, you have a conversation, because you'll realize there's a lot of good people. Anybody that was born 30 or 40 years ago, they didn't determine everything. They picked up a religion that was probably bestowed upon them by their parents. And a lot of new age people, everything's changing. The Republican Party changed. The Democrat Party should change, but they're stubborn. Christianity changed. Muslims going through a reformation, and people in America are, you know, feeling a new way about it. So, I mean, I hate the negativity between all religions, and especially here. I do want to say before I leave, I appreciate people, you know, being honest about the religion and say the Muslim Brotherhood and the infiltration of the government. That's great. Call all that out. But to look down on someone based on their religion, whether they're Christian, whether they're Muslim, whether they're atheist, it's not about that. It's the content of your character. And I know that because I have friends from all religions, and it's who the person is. It's not their religion. Just because you pray to Christ, or because you pray to Allah, or because you pray to anyone, it doesn't make you a good person. If you're a shitty person, no matter who you're praying to, you're a shitty person. If you're a good person, doesn't matter what your religion is, if you're grateful and whatnot. That's my true thoughts. I appreciate Christianity. I appreciate people that pray, and I definitely appreciate God and Jesus Christ. But I don't appreciate people that are so negative and so hateful. I don't think that's what Jesus Christ would have wanted. He would have wanted you to stand up for what's right, but not to look down on somebody and talk down on somebody because they don't pray the same way you do. I think we need to separate the people in the religion that are causing pure chaos and call them out, but to group everybody in, I believe, makes a bigger problem. So I'm gonna end on that note. God bless everybody. I pray to God. I love God, and I think that the true God, He didn't put us here to argue. He didn't put us here to fight, and He definitely didn't put us here to pretend like we're God and judge other people based on how they think and feel. I think He put us here to have a good time, to have fun, to love one another, to protect and love our family, and also to have conversations, because when you talk to people who don't agree with you, when you talk to people, you realize, wow, they're not that different from me. That's how I feel. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. God bless, and I'll come back soon, you know, do some content, and I'm going to upload this on YouTube soon. Thank you guys so much.